This video describes using custom user permissions on the PC3 controller. The PC3 web interface supports up to 4 extra users, each having specific permission levels. The extra users are configured through a file called PC3users.txt. This file needs to be downloaded to the controller in order to update the user permissions. Let's have a look at the PC3users.txt file format. PC3users.txt consists of 4 lines of text. Each line is a particular user. It is a comma-separated list of items, the first item being the user name. So in this case, there are 4 users: sales, all, unique C, user D. The second item in each list is the password for that user. The password for the sales user is sales password, and so forth. Following the password on each line is a comma-separated list of phrases, where each phrase determines what permissions that user has. The phrases define which portions of the user interface are accessible by that user. The PC3 web interface user manual shows what each of the phrases refer to. On the device web page, the web dev phrase determines whether the device web page can be seen at all. Dev basic determines whether the histogram and reset statistics can be seen on the page. The reset PLC phrase determines if the user is able to reset the PLC manually via the web interface. Set RTC allows them to set the real-time clock, and set IP allows them to set the network configuration. On the software web page, the web SW permission determines whether the software page can be seen at all. Software basic displays basic information regarding the application and kernel version and the datalog statistics, and also allows download of the datalog. Erase app allows the user to erase the application. Similarly, reset dlog allows the user to reset the datalog. Reset retain is for resetting retained variables through the get retain reset function block. Reset glob is allowing reset of the retained variables and the event and data logs. Software basic continues here with the resource information table, and then FTP APL allows access to the FTP download tool. On the event page, the web event determines whether you can see the page at all. It also allows the user to download the event log and download event information and see the event statistics table. The event count permission allows the user to reset event counts, and the reset elog permission allows the user to reset the event log. Finally, there is the web var permission, and this determines whether the variables and help pages can be seen at all, and whether the variables table display or custom screen display can be seen at all. This is only one permission because the rest of the permissions are determined by the variable group settings in the icegraph application. If we go to the icegraph application, we can see where the user permissions are there defined for variable groups. Recall that every variable group in a PC3 web interface project has the word web at the start of its comment field. It is then followed by a space and then 4 letters. Each of those 4 letters applies to one of the 4 users in the PC3 users.txt file. In this case, all users have write access. However, if I was to change a particular custom setting, WW specifies that the first 2 users in PC3 users.txt have write access, the next user has read access, and the last user has no access. This corresponds to the sales and all users having write access to this variable group, unique C user having read-only access, and user D having no access to this variable group. Each individual variable group can have its own permissions. We'll now load PC3 users.txt to the controller. I'll copy it and then browse to the FTP server on the PC3. The PC3 users.txt file must be loaded to the base directory or the root directory of the PC3. So I'll paste it there. Note that once the file is copied, it does not actually appear in the directory listing. This is normal. Because PC3 users.txt is a special file, it undergoes special processing when it is loaded and does not get saved in the actual file system. Now we will log into the PC3 web interface using one of the custom users. In this case, we'll use the sales login. And here you can see that our custom user permissions have been applied. The sales user has no permissions to write the IP configuration of the controller, and so the control does not appear in the interface. Similarly, they have no access to the retained variables, or resetting of the retained variables, or the icegraph application. The final thing to note is that whenever a user is logged in as one of these 4 users defined in PC3 users.txt, you will not be able to log in to the web interface using the root user again during that power cycle. This is a limitation of the PC3 web server. In order to log in with the root user again, we would need to reset the PLC. Similarly, if we were to log in using the root user, we then cannot use any of the users from the PC3 users.txt file. We would need to reset the controller in order to log in using one of these passwords or usernames again.